got a quorum. We're just gonna call a meeting to order. And first thing I'd like to ask if there is anything that needs to be added to the agenda at this time. Then I'd like to get a motion to approve the February 22nd, 2023 agenda as submitted.
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor, aye? Okay, it passes. Then I'd also like to ask someone to move that we approve the consent agenda consisting of the January 25th, 23 meeting minutes and the current pending depositing gift report and the statistical report as submitted.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay, just jump right in. First, I'd like to thank Rock for hosting us today. I think this was a change from what we were showing on the schedule originally, and great to be here. It's funny, I thought we were coming up to Rock a little bit early in the rotation, and I realized that the reason for that is that I was here for the foundation meeting not too long ago. And so I'd like to just mention that Rock's great about hosting us. And if you haven't had a chance to go outside and look at the garden, they've done a beautiful job with the rainwater collection and the new garden down there. So it's really nicely done. Of course, other things, the library is great here too. That's just one of those new things I wanted to mention. I think Janet helped you.
I did.
Did you?
I unloaded that big truck.
That's right.
Yes, a bunch of people.
Okay. Okay, so we'll jump right in, public comment period. I don't show anyone, no one, okay. Good, we'll run right into the reports and who's right behind me? I thought I saw you come in.
True.
I over here, so I'm not shouting over the deck.
Okay. good.
I am glad I made it to a board of trustees meeting. Welcome to South. So we are getting ready to have our book drive March 11th. Our book sale will be late this year because Easter. And that will be Friday the 14th, Saturday the 15th. On Friday the 14th, we will have Howard Bowen giving a talk in the evening in the special collections room. And right now we're gathering a big committee, which consisted of almost the entire board of organizing volunteers. So volunteers, both for the Friends and then when possible for the library. So far, we've been kind of gearing people towards Read RVA if they are interested in volunteering at a library and want to do something with reading for kids. So we've been just gearing them towards the library website and the RVA reads the RVA program. One thing is we need to get rid of some of our books, and instead of throwing them out, we've asked people if they want donations, and we get contact from lots and lots of people. And then when it's time, they don't come, they don't show up, they don't get back to us. So if you know of anybody in the next 2-3 weeks who is interested in getting lots of children's books, adult books, fiction, nonfiction, they're interested, let us know. And you can go to our website. It's probably easy if you go to our website and email friends, or you can email me directly and I can just jot down my email friend who's interested.
So you're saying to undonate books?
Yes. We have lots and lots of unsold books.
I know.
We expect to be deluged again with the
Yes, you will.
donations in our book drive. Any questions? Comments?
Okay, thank you so much. You, really appreciate that. Susan, did you report on the foundation?
I feel like I have to stand now too. At last month's meeting, I should have mentioned that the foundation and the library have partnered to hire Tammy Woodson for the RVA Reads program expansion. I apologize for that oversight. We hired her in December And she has very quickly, seamlessly become a full team player. And so it felt like I had already reported on her. So I apologize. She is a tremendous asset to the RVA Reads program and helping Barbara reach out to additional, non-traditional childcare environments. I want to thank everyone who responded to the Save the Date for the Maya Smart event. We'll be sending more information out shortly. And I also want to take this time to recognize and thank the friends who are joining us in hosting and funding the event. On grants and partnerships, we are moving full steam ahead with a full schedule of proposals this spring around early childhood learning and early literacy. Too many, frankly, to list right here. So if you have questions or any connections to any specific foundations, please connect with me afterwards, and I'd be happy to discuss that with you.
Any questions? Thanks, Susan. Okay, Scott, we'll get into administration and.
All right.
The report I get together for the minute.
I don't have a lot to add to the report that I've included in the document. I will make note of, if you look at page 11 and check out our circulation. This month we set a record in e-content. You'll notice that for the 5 years that we've kind of been tracking this, we had 19,182 checkouts for e-content. And that includes Overdrive, Libby, Hoopla, all of the different resources that people are accessing through the website. So we hope that traffic to the website keeps going up and people continue to use our online resources as robustly as they are. So the investment we're making in that is pretty significant. There is one little correction on that line. You'll look at the end, we're at 111,975 and not instead of 11,000. So we missed a little one there. And I will say that I did some quick figuring. Last year at this time, we were at 405,570 circs. And this year we're at 450,538. So we're about 10% higher than where we were last year in terms of circulation. Kind of curious to see what the drivers are on that, but circulation is doing well. Again, programs are not as robust as we would like. We are definitely suffering from a lack of capacity in terms of being able to do the numbers of programs we want because we don't have all the people we need. So hopefully that'll be something we can grow in the coming fiscal year. Just quick update on North Avenue. We're, again, from my report, we have things cleaned up. We're just kind of waiting for risk management to issue a purchase order so that the contractors can begin work repairing the drywall, doing the painting, replacing the carpet. So we're awaiting that for the contractors. So we're still shooting for mid-April. So if we can get that purchase order and we get the repair people scheduled, I think the work will go quickly. And we'll be able to start fixing things up. Hopefully it'll be better than it was before all of this happened. It's unfortunate that we've been close. We're going to be closed. We've been closed. So all I can add to that. That's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Scott? Been pretty quiet month, but
We never say that.
as far as any big report on. Garrett's not here. Sharon, did you have anything?
He was supposed to bring me a report.
Right.
But I can just talk about a few things that we talked about. Publicity was one of the areas that we wanted to focus on. There's some publications that we would like to, since this is the 100th anniversary, they should welcome, something from us. One, the Free Press, one, the RVA Family Magazine, and I'm not familiar with any, but we wanted to look and see if there are any, resources for the Latinx community. Any, papers being distributed or anything of that nature. And one of the things we thought about was, did you know fact sheet that can be distributed or, sent out as PSAs or whatever, that just list all of the things that you can get from the library, you can do at the library, just a one-page, thing. Did you know that you get free contracts? Did you know you can check out laptops? Did you know you can reserve a room? Did you know, kind of things like that? Just, something very brief that can be handed out.
Yeah, we can put something like that together. A one pager with a list of all the things you can do at the library. Yep, I think we have something like that. So we'll work on that. I haven't heard a lot from the city in terms of like budget development or CIP. They're building it. The mayor will launch that on the 6th. So the information you have is about in line with what I have. So.
Thank you, Sharon. I think we'll have to start looking, seeing when we want to engage all of us as far as contacting local representatives, council representatives, liaisons, whoever, and starting to do things, but we probably do that after the
The
budget.
original piece that he sent, I think this was the one that was very
Oh, okay.
You are right on time.
How's everyone doing?
Good here.
So Sharon was just filling us in a little bit, and
Perfect, great. Well,
I briefly told about the, did you know, and, publicity.
yes. Well, again, good afternoon or
Hello.
good morning, everyone. Still, I think one of the biggest things that, Shannon and I have been talking about from an advocacy perspective is, again, how do we continue to build on the momentum so we can make sure that when we get into true budgetary conversations, we can be best positioned to get as much money as we can to be able to help the libraries for the next fiscal year. So the biggest thing I know when we had our meeting before last, because I missed last meeting, I apologize for that. We talked about, what February will look like. So something that's going to come out later today, and I need to talk to Gianna about that, is getting out a communication to the entire board of a particular email you can send to your actual city council and school board representatives. I think one of the goals we wanted to do is get them involved in the libraries and really get them to understand like what the libraries look like. If they haven't brought their families here, bring them to the actual libraries and actually meet you here. But also make sure that they actually have a library card as well. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to be able to take pictures with them and then utilize that on their social media platforms to, again, spread the great word of all the great libraries we have in the city and how it can benefit their constituents as well. So that's going to be our main focus for from this meeting to our March meeting, is to make sure that everybody does that. But again, look out for an email later today that will have the actual canned response you can send to your representatives. And hopefully before our March meeting, we have some really good traction on that.
okay. That probably ties in with the budget coming out for the 6th,
The 6th.
something like that. March 6th.
Yeah.
So trying to get something out that's not finance related
Right.
prior to the budget, so then we're not just suddenly on the doorsteps again with the budget.
Absolutely. To Bill's point, which is very well received. Again, our goal with the advocacy plan is that we don't want to just show up out of the blue and say like, hey, we want to ask for X, Y, and Z. Continue to tell the great narrative about the actual public libraries. And then when the ask comes, it's like, oh, I already know Sharon, I already know Bill, I already know Emily, and I know what's happening in my particular library or the libraries in general. So the ask is easier for them to receive, but also be able to advocate for as well.
Sounds good. Anything else that either Bill wanted to mention on advocacy at this point?
That's it. I just want to say that I made a lovely donation to our library foundation yesterday. So we'll keep those rolling in too.
Okay, I'm basically gonna skip the chair report today. As I mentioned, things have been, from my perspective, really calm this month, for the library. Then Scott shaking his head as soon as I say that. There haven't been,
That's dangerous.
yeah, haven't
Yeah.
been any
Everybody.
big panic things, at least that I've heard of, so that's good. Budget, we're sitting, waiting for that, the, Finance Committee, I'll let Scott and Garrett talk about that, but the numbers in here look like we're tracking fairly closely. There's some questions, but I don't think I need to go into them as a part of the chair report. And, facilities, I think, Janet will cover that, so, gonna go ahead and turn things back over to Garrett or Scott. For the finance.
Yeah, so. We're at that time when budget is developing all of the different, they've gathered all the information from their departments. They're seeing how much revenues are gonna be, how much expenses are gonna be, and they're crafting a document that the mayor will present on March 6th. So at this time, there's not a lot of information out there on what is going to happen. That saved the mayor's one who presents that, so we'll find out when the mayor does that on the 6th. Then it'll get turned over to the city council and they will evaluate it and make suggestions, recommendations, and that's how the budget process will proceed through April. So we're kind of waiting on things for the budget side, and then the CIP is also being crafted in the same way. I haven't received much information on the CIP as to what projects are gonna be prioritized or de-emphasized. Again, all of that information will come out on the 6th. I do know that our master plan is in there. We've checked all the boxes, and so we're just waiting to see what gets determined. So that's what's happening with budget, that's happening with CIP. I haven't heard any big impacts or the only big impact I've heard is the request from the schools. They wish to have $30 million more than they had in this fiscal year. So we'll see how all of that plays out.
Next couple of quick questions. On the budget, page 20. First thing I want to ask real quickly is the law life. We're showing 167, we're showing that we acknowledge that we need to step up and all those. Are we actually seeing any of that yet? Or is this all a paper? I mean, is it,
No, that's what we've received.
it's actually,
Yeah,
it is truly coming in from
Yeah.
the court side?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
that's from the numbers. Yeah,
So we can pretty much say we're on track this thing.
yeah,
Good, okay. And then I noticed we've got things budgeted with the Gates Foundation, obviously our foundation, Friends, we're showing those in budgeted columns and nothing, often at this point of the year, we're about halfway through. We're typically looking at things being about 50% on it. Those are not showing anything. I'm assuming that's because we just haven't
Well,
called on anything yet.
Gates Foundation, that is, so special funds carry over from year to year. So this is a legacy fund that's been in there since, for probably over 15 years.
Oh.
So that's funds that are just remaining in there, that once they're expended, then that fund will close. So that's that's extra money that's been in there. Yep.
Okay.
The foundation, those are rollover receipts. This is how much, has been spent. So.
That makes sense. And just popping in a little bit further, the actual on the Verizon E-rate, is that also just a timing type of thing? We're not
Yes.
way off on budget there, right?
No, so those were funds that were received, 27,000 has been received at the beginning of the fiscal year. The Verizon is a reimbursement. So the way that works is we take our bills that we pay for internet usage. We submit those on an E-rate form, submit those to the federal government, and they reimburse it back. That comes in on the process of their commitment. So in the past, we've gotten in between about 87,000 is what we get back from the federal government in terms of E-rate funding to support data expenses for all of our branch libraries. So that pays for our data lines. So, and that those we've not completed that paperwork and submitted it because they're not asking for it yet. So that'll happen within the next 30 days. We'll submit the paperwork and then the funding will come through before the end of the fiscal year.
And on page 19, y'all notice the pretty detailed expense. Everything looked fairly, at my glance of it, reasonably in line. Seeing if you could really stood out to me. Anything y'all want to point out in any of that? I mean, did the numbers. You've got a couple of them that are way out there, but they're such small amounts that that's a normal thing and doesn't really mean much.
The one thing I'm concerned about is our book purchasing. We're only at about 30% for this fiscal year, and we need to be further ahead of that. So that is a top priority in the next 60 days to get that spent down. We're also only at 53%. We're usually a little bit higher than that right now, so we're a little bit behind. So I want to see us catch up and get ahead of that before the 1st of May, end of May. So we're tracking a little bit behind, so we need to make sure that we're getting things costed and spent before the deadline.
Okay. The only questions I had on that. Any questions anyone else has on the finance report, budget type?
Well, just to follow up, are there problems with book purchasing?
Yeah, we've had Baker and Taylor, who's one of the big vendors who provides us books. They've had their system hacked about twice in the last 10 months. So that has slowed things down. We had general supply chain issues for the last basically year or so. So that has slowed things down. Our book vendors have also been prioritizing retail over libraries. So one of the examples of things where we didn't get on the list soon enough was the book Spare. That was a top hot title. We didn't have any copies when the book came out on the day it came out. That was probably one of the biggest books that's hit the market in I don't know how long. So we're having some challenges with our collection development, with our acquisitions. So those are things that we're trying to address. Some of it is on the vendor side, some of it's on our side. So getting those things ironed out is a top priority over the next 60, 90 days.
Okay, let's jump right into Janet. Anything you want to say about facilities?
I'm excited to hear that maybe we'll learn something after the budget, March 6th.
Yeah, so we'll find out if they have adopted, they support our master plan. I am confident that it will be approved and included in the CIP. So it'll be approved and to go forward for the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
I'm hopeful that we'll see some funding. The funding that we would get would be for design development. So taking all of those wonderful ideas we came up with in the master plan, all of the challenges we identified in the master plan, and refining those, honing those, seeking funding to support overall what the project would be. We have the architects gave us a cost of $70 million. That's aspirational. It could go up, it could go down. I know the cost, I've been told the cost of all projects are exceeding estimates that, estimates are developed a year ago, 2 years ago, they're being surpassed 20-30% is what I'm hearing in some cases. So
if our project was included, what would then be the time frame for actually getting into the process to select an architect? Would that be next fiscal year?
it would
the
start after the
earliest?
fiscal year, yeah. Unless there's funding available in this fiscal year to start those projects. It's a little bit like special funds in that some funds carry over. Projects have longer lifespans than a fiscal year, so it all depends. But I would be surprised if it started before the beginning of the fiscal year. I think legally they can't start with the fiscal year because that's when the budget, the CIP.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
That makes
Yeah, it's getting that next 30 weeks.
It depends, like, that would be part of the process. I can only speculate.
But we'll know something probably by the budget time. The only reason I ask is that, as Garrett gives us some direction on the finance. We may, as we make contact with council members to talk about budget for, what we're talking about is operating budget. That's really where we're going. But they're going to, if there's this, that since not if, since we have made a request in the CIP process, they may ask questions about that. Or so it'd be nice to have some idea as we go, what we're looking for short term to just keep things moving along. I mean, we know no one's gonna give us $70 million budget.
Well,
It's the idea.
you never know. I mean, that'll be a question that you'll get when you're talking to council people or
Yeah.
pretty much anybody. That's a question I'm getting. And so I'm explaining to people that, yes, the master plan raised some wonderful aspirational goals and objectives. We identified challenges. We have that, an estimated cost of $70 million. It would be fantastic if we could build a building like that. And we're waiting for the CIP to take it to the next level to iron that all out and really come up with that. The other issue on operational dollars is, as I just pointed out, our circulation is going up. Where we're not seeing the growth that we want to after the pandemic is programs, getting people in our buildings. And to do that, we need to have access to our buildings. So more library hours. We're in the branch today that's open on Sundays, and Sundays started in January and they started out pretty slow. I think they're probably picking up. I haven't seen the door counts, but they will steadily pick up. We have to have locations open. So, and to do that, we have to have people. So funding our operational dollars so we can get our positions filled will help us open that door. And then once we open the door, having the programs to attract people. So,
Well, and that's one of the fundamental things that we may have talked about this a little bit at the last meeting. I know Scott and I discussed it, that we open, we only need 3 people minimum to have a branch open at any one time. You have to have basically 3 people minimum in the building. That doesn't let you run program. That just lets the doors be open, really. And we are, when we look at that to try to get hours in there are times where we're stretched to get 3.
That's right.
Here, so
Heather will tell you on Sundays, they only are able to have 2 people in the building. Yep. And so.
Yeah.
When it starts getting more busy, she's gonna have to have more people in the building. So she's gonna have people to man this location to do what we need to do.
but it's hard for a children's librarian to be
Right.
sitting with the kids and also checking people out at the desk.
Yeah.
It's hard for, any of the programs to run while we're pulling that person away from doing those programs.
Right.
This can't do it. So we really, I look at it and say, we almost need to ask for at least one more person per branch in our ongoing to just get us open to the point that we can fund movement, but it's just the access. Anyway, we'll get more on that, so that's one of the things that I think we can talk. Our big push has been access to children's literacy. And this past year, we got more funding for access for increased hours. Now we need to say, okay, we've got the buildings open during those times, but we can't really do what we need to in this without more people. It's still access. It's just a question of how you view that. Okay, Emily on governance.
Yeah, just a quick note on appointments. 3 of us all joined the board at the same time. Those 3 terms are ending this summer, but all 3 are eligible for reappointment, and I believe that all 3 have submitted their applications for reappointment. Next year, in the summertime, will be the next time that any terms will be ending. There are 2 terms ending in 2024, and one of those will not be eligible for reappointment. So that's just general update on state of appointments to this board.
Okay, any unfinished business? I don't have anything on this schedule. Does anyone have anything to, no, Scott, nothing from you? And I don't have any new business. So we,
I have a question. I have one question.
yes,
I know that it came up at discussion earlier, but what resources do we have for like mobile units? Do we have a mobile?
We do not have a mobile library.
I saw the thing the state was doing with their 200th anniversary and sending out a mobile unit. And I got to thinking, Did we ever work with the public schools with their the lit mobile
Yeah.
bill that burned?
Well, they have another one.
They do have.
I think they might have had two,
Okay.
but I think one of them did burn up.
Yeah.
Our point of contact is Judy Dykman, Detchman. She's worked with us. I know last summer, our youth services people went out on that lit limo to help deliver summer reading program materials and sign-up sheets. And we have a pretty good relationship with Ms. Denchman at Richmond Public Schools. Aspirationally, I'd love to have a mobile library because I've discovered in Richmond, we have barriers to access to our building that are similar to what I encountered down in when I was in my regional library, when we had people 100 miles away from the main branch. And so having a mobile library that can visit community centers or festivals or even branches to do things when the weather could permit. You know, STEM or STEAM programs could be utilized off of a mobile library, visiting senior centers to do programs in those centers to deliver reading materials to those places if we could get in. Faith-based community, I think we could have an opportunity to visit the faith-based communities to deliver materials to them. Childcare centers, those are all opportunities for us to get out of the four walls of the library and deliver library services. So something I'd love to see us get in the future. But we would have to have the manpower to do it. So we need a driver and we need, ideally, what I'd love to see is a youth services person connected to it, an adult services person, and a person to do teens. So having the capacity to connect with all of those different segments of our population would be ideal. So to get a vehicle, the vehicle is the easy part, actually. I mean, a vehicle, you know, you can get a vehicle for anywhere from 50 to 150,000. It can be one that has you know, a whole library on it and computer centers on it, computer resources on it. But the most important part is the person who's going to drive it and deliver the program, because you just can't, you know, having a bookmobile where it just pulls up and you expect people to come on. That's last century.
Yeah.
It needs to be very much more interactive. And so it has to be staffed. Just like our libraries have to be staffed. If we want to have a robust and really impact literacy and learning in the city of Richmond, we have to have more than just opening the door. And really, we need more than 2 people at our Broad Rock Library on Sunday. It'd be nice to have some programs here that could be done by the people that we need to have to deploy them. So we're trying to develop strategies to make that work. At the end of the day, I still need people. So, but yeah, I'd love to have a mobile library. I think it'd be great. We could have parked it at North Avenue while it's closed and provided that resource while it was closed.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that you could do with a mobile library.
This may seem like a dumb question, but is there any way people can get a library card without coming in the branch?
You know, I was thinking about that yesterday because I have a lot of people saying, well, I need to come in and get a library and I need to start saying to them, well, do you have your phone on you? Why don't you pull out your phone? Because I can get you a library card right on your phone. Because you can get an electronic library card. That'll give you a number and you can start accessing those electronic resources right away. And then when you come into a library, you're already set up in there. So your name's already in there, your address is already in there. You have a number that you can use to access the electronic materials that are available through the resources that Phil helps us run. He's our webmaster. He's our webmaster and our AV guy right now, helping us provide content to the website and connect with people through our social media. So this is broadcasting over YouTube and Facebook, or just YouTube? Just our YouTube channel. Just our YouTube channel. So Phil and Jen Duell is our outreach library community services manager. So she's responsible for managing the website and making sure the content's connecting and also communicating across our social media channels, which are really important. So Sadiqua was so successful because Jen really went above and beyond, and we tried Facebook ads. Where else did we advertise? Instagram.
Style.
Yep. So we're doing a lot of those advertisements, and I've quickly realized, and it's come to me after about 6 years, that we need to make an investment when we do programs, that we need to invest resources and funding to promote it.
Yeah.
Because it's not happening if people don't know it's happening. And even after it happens, it didn't happen if people don't know that it happened. So we need to do a better job of promotion. And those are the things that we're really
That's
trying
what
to
I'm
do.
thinking, because now I've lived here all my life and I never knew you could get it online or anything. And I'm sure a lot of other people in the city have
Yeah.
no clue.
Be honest, did you know she?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sharon, I'm a little bit confused. Let me just, when one looks at the website, it seems to give you the chance to do the electronic one. But that if you do that, it seems to say that that's not a full library card. I mean, when you look at it, that you can't, so are you basically doing that electronically? And then if you come into the library, are they upgrading that to
Yeah.
a standard card? Is that what happens?
So if you're not in the library, you can get a library card virtually. So
But the virtual card is
To
like,
use electronic resources.
it's to use electronic, but then when you
In the
look into the
library,
grant,
the library helped me to put it on my phone, you
mhm,
know, but I had to go in there to get my card, so. I thought that even to get it on your phone, you had to go in the library, you know.
Well, you're talking about the app, I think. You're
Yeah,
talking about the app.
yeah.
so
This
let's
is
not.
something else.
Let's
that-
not get this too confused. So there's an electronic library card. You can go and says, is it a library card? Is that the title on the top of it's on the front page. Get a card. So when you go and get a card, you can get an electronic library card live online, and that will let you go to Hoopla and Overdrive, and it puts your name in our database. So then when you physically visit a library, you can get an actual library card, because we'll go and look your name up, and then that electronic card will come up and it'll show us that you already have a library card. It allows you to get started right away, and then you can visit a library and get a physical library card. And we also have, the last thing we have is, and I don't know if you noticed it, but we have an app. And if you're not familiar with the app, it has our RPL 100 logo on it. I don't, you can't really see it. So if you go to the App Store and you look up Richmond Public Library, you can download an app that will let you, you can scan an ISBN number. So if you're in a bookstore, I think you can scan an ISBN number and see if it's in our collection. So you can check and see if we have the book, and then it's available. You can find out how we have it. Is it a physical book or is it an electronic book? And you can do that right from this app. You can also search the catalog right from this app. So it's right in your phone. You can also see nearest libraries. And the other really neat thing is you can check out books from this. So if you're out in the collection and you don't want to go up to the circulation desk, you pull your books. It has your library card on it. You scan your books and you're ready to go. You don't have to stop at a desk. So it's complete
You can renew,
self-service.
you can renew too, which is nice.
Well, everything auto renews.
That's
But
true.
I think if you want to renew, you can. I
You
think
can go and look at your
you can go and
loans.
look, yep, you can manage your account, so you can see what things you have borrowed, what holds you have in place. It's really remarkable. This is one of the things I think I'm most grateful for, because when I got here, our online catalog was a little bit behind the times. And many of you who've been on the board a while got to go through the process of getting the online catalog, and it's no longer hosted at the city of Richmond. It's hosted as software as service. So if you ever hear SaaS, that means software as service. So that's our database is housed out there on someone else's server, and we have access to it. And the vendor maintains it much better than we used to maintain it. So patches and updates. So the version of the catalog that we have now is very much up to date, and any problems, they're constantly fixing it. But this is an amazing resource. And the more when I tell patrons about this, they get really excited about it, because it lets them pretty much have a library, access their library in the palm of their hand. So
Should we get a demo for this group at a future meeting?
it might be
I
helpful.
feel like if people could see it, it would make sense. Yeah.
One thing I was gonna add too, I think this gets to like our education piece and also to advocacy. I think in this communication that I'll send out later this afternoon, I can add in, maybe talk to you, Scott, about adding in like the piece that we can give them to put into their next newsletter.
Right.
Talk about the library. It's like, hey, you have the ability to get your own, online, card. You can be able to utilize this when you go into a branch. It's the app and it's how you can utilize it. So I think those are really good ways that we can kind of tie that in immediately. So they can be able to, provide that information to their constituents in their districts too.
Right, we're doing some great stuff. Our library staff is doing some great stuff, and our website is, I think it's one of the top ones in the area because you can do so much on it, and our app is really powerful. So, yeah, that's a great idea. I'd love to share that with more people. So the more who know, that's just another gateway, another entryway into their library.
I think it even ties to our, but also ties into like the overall kind of advocacy plan as well, because we talked about, as Bill mentioned, kind of really building like these community kind of advocates as well. So the more they know about what all the great things that the library offers to them at their fingertips, not even having to come into a physical location, the more they can advocate for us when we get into the budgetary conversations over the next couple of months.
Right. Well, it's a constant race to satisfy our users' need for information. It used to be, I don't know that we need that. Do we need that? Well, we do need it, because if people can't get to it like this, they're going to go on to something else. And I don't want us to get left behind. So all of the things and all of the seeking that we do and trying to be on the be closer, be early adopters of these things, or take things that are proven and start implementing them, helps us connect with our users in all the different ways that they're going to enter. Some folks may never want to use that app. They're going to come into the library and search on the computer or ask the person at the desk. That's fine. We're still going to provide that level of service, but we have to meet that spectrum of users who come through our door or don't come through our door. And you'll see, I pointed out this month, 19,000 checkouts on our electronic resources. So people are connecting with us that way, and they may never step foot in a library, but they're using us.
Almost a third.
Yeah.
Of our circulation.
That's right.
Electronic content. That's pretty high. I
Yep.
think.
And I see that as we need to keep investing more in our electronic resources. They're as important as our physical buildings.
I have a little question.
So,
The nice exhibit, the anniversary exhibit, which I looked at when I went to hear Sadiqa. And it's very nice. What has the reaction been from the public?
I spoke to our security guard this morning, and she was telling me down at the main library, there are many, many people taking a look at it, taking a picture of it so they can read it later. It's also in this library, so if you want to go out and take a look at it, it's out on the floor here at Broad Rock. So take a look at those panels. It's doing a very nice job of telling our story. So it was
I liked how it handled the segregation issue. I thought that was well done.
Mhm. Yeah, Jen and Ben, and I think Phil were all involved in that project of kind of pulling all the information
Good job.
together. They were very thoughtful and deliberate about how they constructed it and made it just look really great.
Yeah.
Did Josh help with that too?
Yeah, gosh.
So Josh is our graphic designer who we hired last fall. So that team's been doing a great job.
So I asked Ben if there might be a print version of that. And he said that was an idea.
Yeah, yeah, we are exploring that. The challenge is shrinking that
Yeah.
down. So it would definitely not be the same, but we're exploring how we can shift it to more readable.
You know, it'd be nice as a keepsake. I mean, it'd be nice for right now, but as a keepsake.
Well, and we also have those panels all on the website, right? So you can go and
Yeah.
look at it there.
The web page doesn't look the same, but all the same content is on our mail.
I really want to applaud all the work that the committee's done, and you served on the committee. We've had members from the foundation. The Friends have supported it. So it's really been a collaborative effort to start telling the One Richmond Public Library centennial story. I think we're getting some great publicity around it. I need all of you to do oral histories. So if you haven't talked about the library or participated in oral histories, I need you to contact your local library and set up an appointment with your librarian there and come in and do an oral history for us. Because we need to capture those stories. And if you know past board members, we need to have them come in and do it. We need Larry to come in. We need Danita to come in. We need all those folks to come in and tell their story about how they impacted the library. So help us do that.
Anything else? This is one of those rare occasions we're actually running ahead of schedule, which we'll take today unless anyone has anything else. If I can ask for a motion to adjourn. Okay, Sharon, Second. Okay, on favor, aye. All right, give me adjourn. Thank you all very much. Don't forget, you know, when I came on the board, I was surprised they always had lunch at the meetings. And people used to sit and eat, and I don't know, I think because as chairman, I've just never been comfortable eating while trying to keep them going. That nobody else seems to be eating. Please don't forget about.
Don't forget to grab